Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're ready to reconvene the hearing of the New Jersey Casino Control Commission.
We
Yes.
wanted to ask if petitioners had any more witnesses.
Ms. Kaufman or Mr. Levinson, do you have any other witnesses?
I do not.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, thank you. Division, then I believe you have additional witnesses you want to call?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. The division would like to call Michael Conboy.
Thank you. Mr. Nance, can you swear in Mr. Conboy?
Yes, Mr. Conboy, would you raise your right hand?
Can you see me?
Yes, now I do.
Okay.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Michael Conboy.
Thank you.
Mr. Conboy, you are a principal of Luxor Capital Group LP, right?
Correct, yes.
And Luxor Capital Group LP indirectly holds a majority ownership interest in AC Ocean Walk LLC, isn't that right?
That's correct, yes.
Are you aware of Ocean's plans to use some of the funds from the Illich investment to add rooms to its hotel?
Yes, I am.
When the division filed its report on September 22nd, 2021, Ocean was planning at that time to use $30 million of the $175 million Illich investment toward the hotel room expansion, isn't that right?
That's correct, yes.
And at that time, the plan was to add 164 rooms, correct?
That sounds right, yeah.
But yesterday, Mr. Dahl testified that Ocean is now planning to spend $70 million on the hotel room expansion. Isn't that right?
I believe he said that, yes.
Yesterday, Mr. Dahl further testified that Ocean is now planning to add 464 rooms. Isn't that right?
Correct.
So is it your understanding then, or is it accurate that Ocean's current plans are to spend $70 million to add 464 rooms?
Yeah, I could explain a little bit why that discrepancy exists, if that's okay. When coming into the summer, we were at that time not exactly sure whether the return would exist on the incremental rooms. We knew we were short suite product. So the plan was at the time to for sure invest the $30 million in effectively 3 floors of suites, which would have added, I believe, about 100 suites. Given the strength of the summer and what we're seeing in yielding the hotel, we're entirely convinced now that the demand exists for the full 12 floors. So the plan now is to build the incremental all 12 floors and spend the $70 million.
So regarding other recent changes, are you aware that Teresa Glabaki resigned from her position as the Chief Executive Officer of Ocean effective October 8th, 2021?
Yes.
And are you aware that Teresa Glabaki also was designated as the Chief Gaming Executive for Ocean, which is a mandatory position under the division's regulations?
Yes.
The new management agreement that Ocean intends to execute with OCRM LLC provides for a general manager, and that general manager had been expected to be Teresa Glabaki, right?
Yes, it was expected, yes.
So while Ocean's searching for a new CEO or general manager, will the Chief Financial Officer, Laura Palazzo, be designated as the Chief Gaming Executive for purposes of the division's regulation?
Yes.
While Ocean is searching for a new CEO or general manager, who will perform the functions and responsibilities previously performed by Teresa Glabaki?
So we are working on designating a interim CEO. I think the plan is to have that designation in the next 10 days. In terms of the communication with the senior managers, I met with the senior management team upon Ms. Glabaki's departure, informed them of the situation, Their direct reports have not changed. This is a very, very deep senior management team. I think Mr. Dahl probably said it best when he said he could go on vacation for a week or two and the business would run as normal. We actually made a strategic decision about 6 months ago to try to decentralize some decision making and empower people both at the department and then kind of down the line. So these department heads and senior management teams have relatively senior authority to operate in their departments as they see fit. I have been at times a very active owner, representing my firm, obviously. Obviously, given the financial situation of the asset a few years ago, it required a very active owner. So I'm very familiar with the operations. I've made myself available to all those senior department heads. They all have my phone number. Over the next 10 days, I plan on being in property a lot, just to make myself available. And as I said, in the next 10 days, we expect to designate an interim CEO.
And you said you're planning to be involved a lot during this interim period?
Yeah, I mean, I'm active as it is. From a strategic perspective, Ms. Glabaki and I talked 3 or 4 times a week. The department heads, I said, if they didn't have my cell phone number, many of them already did. They all do now. So we're talking on a regular basis. And so I'm going to make myself increasingly available for any guidance or any decision making that might rise above the authority level of the current department heads.
And will Bruce Dahl be assisting you in that regard?
Not right now, no. Not for the next 10 days.
So you mentioned that there were various departments that reported to Teresa Glabaki. So to whom will those department heads report while Ocean is seeking a new CEO or general manager? Is it you then?
I guess indirectly, that's probably the right answer. The reporting lines, those, to be fair, so you have the mandatory positions that will report into the chief gaming officer, will be Laura. And then the department heads that are not reporting mandatorily into the chief gaming officer that did report into Ms. Glabaki will indirectly report into me. I think the plan is to probably not redraw the reporting lines for 7 or 8 days and just have them continue to report into an interim CEO or into a CEO box that is temporarily vacant. And so indirectly they'll be as the CEO reported to me, indirectly these reports will be into me.
You're just going to skip that box essentially.
I guess for 7 or 8 days we'll have a vacancy there that we're going to try to fill as fast as possible.
So in terms of filling the position as fast as possible, so what's the plan to find a new CEO or general manager? Understanding, you have some interim plans you have to make. What's the long-term plan to fill that position?
So we plan to run a search. We ran a search before we appointed Ms. Glabaki. We ran a pretty wide search. There were some great candidates identified in that search. And the property is, I think the property is much more attractive, potentially much more attractive opportunity for a strong candidate now than it was a year and a half ago. So I have no doubt we're gonna attract great candidates. That search will be run in conjunction with Motor City. I think as you pointed out yesterday, once the management agreement is in place, which obviously can't come in place until the financial transaction closes, but once that management agreement is in place, they have the right to kind of run that search with our consulting and our approval. But I think functionally the way it will work is we'll run that search together. We'll agree on a candidate. We're already talking about that. I've already had candidates reach out to me, so I think this process is going to be underway in a very short order.
Are you aware of the division's recommendation that the commission impose a condition requiring Ocean to submit a written plan addressing the vacant CEO position?
Yes.
And are you aware of the division's recommendation that the commission impose a condition requiring Ocean to provide the division with monthly updates regarding the search for a permanent CEO or general manager?
Yes.
Are you aware of the division's recommendation that the commission impose a condition requiring Ocean to notify the division prior to the appointment of a permanent CEO or general manager?
Yes.
On behalf of Ocean, do you agree to comply with those conditions?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Schreier, your witness.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Thank you. Mr. Conboy, do you have any concerns about the operation of the property with the management team that's currently in place while you were searching for a new CEO?
No, none whatsoever. It's as I said, it's a incredibly talented and deep team. It's running well.
Yesterday, the commission heard the testimony from Bruce and John about their plans regarding the future of the property and the capital expenditures at the property that were anticipated. As the owner, what do you see as the future of the capital expenditures?
Well, obviously the room project is the big one for this year. We're really excited about it. One of the commissioners yesterday asked, how do you grow the market? One way to grow the market, in my experience, is by building more rooms. Like, there is more demand for Atlantic City product in certain markets. So if you kind of look at what happened when Ocean and Hard Rock opened, the market 100% grew on the weekends in the summer, and then it cannibalized the other times. So I think by adding this room product, we are going to grow the market next year in Atlantic City. It's really exciting. We see the demand. The demand is there 100% on 180 to 200 days a year. So really exciting, that project. I think there's a slot product. Like, we have to continue to invest in our slot product. It's the highest return capital we spend every year. By far the best thing that we did was investing in that slot product. It completely changed the face of the casino. And you have to invest in it for your customers. They kind of compel you to do it, and it's great return. So we will be investing in slot product. We also, as some are aware, we are getting the middle of our casino back, where our sports book is currently. That was currently under a arrangement with William Hill, which is ending. So there's some exciting things that we can do with that real estate now that it's owned again by Ocean. I think we're kicking around some potentially exciting things. I don't want to talk too much about it. And then, there's just constantly refreshing the rooms outside of the new room product. We've embarked on a program this year to really refresh those rooms. I think we'll be continuing that program and maybe getting a little more aggressive. And the nice thing about this property is there's always high return things to do. It's, in my opinion, the best property in Atlantic City, and we have a chance to really spend capital and earn returns and invest in our customers in ways that make a lot of financial sense. So while there may not be, I don't want to kind of list the 3 or 4 things for competitive reasons that we're kicking around, I think there's going to be things to do for the next couple of years that are really exciting.
Have you over the last several months gotten to know Mr. Dahl and Mr.
Really?
Polachicchio?
More than a couple months. This has been a long transaction, but yes, I've got to know them both very well.
And how about their organization? Have you come to know their organization as well?
Yes.
So in addition to the significant funding that they're intending to invest in Ocean, what is it about this new investor and these seasoned executives that you're excited about?
Yeah, I kind of always viewed my job before them is to find the right person, the right people, and the right employees, and then empower them, provide some strategic guidance, and then kind of get out of their way and let them do their jobs. I think kind of the same thing on the partner side. I wouldn't say we kissed a lot of frogs. We probably batted eyelashes at a few frogs, and we found the prince. This is a wonderful partner. It's a well-capitalized family. They're not here to squeeze dividends out of this company. It's low leverage. They share our view of running a lowly levered company. There's no leases, unlike a lot of the other properties, there's no lease on this. And so they share our growth initiatives and our growth vision for both this asset and Atlantic City. So it's a wonderful partner from that perspective. And then they're just really good people. I think he probably came through yesterday. They're going to be wonderful representatives for Ocean in the community, and I think even better representatives for Atlantic City, outside this community. They're really, really a great family, and Bruce and John are great people. So really, really excited.
Great. And just one final question. How do you view the financial condition of Ocean today?
Personally, I think it's the most financially stable asset in Atlantic City right now, which is, probably amazing to hear, but, it's the most lowly levered company versus any of the public companies' own assets. It's not encumbered by kind of poor performing assets and, other portfolio assets. I think, we've been free cash flow positive every month since September 2019. My fund, Luxor, has invested about $250 million in Ocean to date and has not taken $1 out. So until this transaction, we will get paid back some debt. So we continue to reinvest in the product. I think it's there's no deferred capital in Ocean. And so I think the financial stability of Ocean is pristine.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Division, redirect?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any further questions for Mr. Conboy.
Commissioners, do we have any questions for Mr. Conboy?
I do.
Go ahead, Commissioner Cooper.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Conboy, and first, thank you for being with us today.
Morning.
One thing I wanted to first acknowledge, I'm very glad that you clarified or cleared up the section about the rooms, because I had some information that Mr. Dahl had given some information, so I'm glad that was cleared up this morning. To that piece, though, one report said about 160 rooms. You've now talked about 400 rooms doing the whole project. That's fantastic. With that in mind, are you still looking at, now that we're like over 400 rooms, are you still looking at a mid-2022 target date? Or has that target date maybe gone into two target dates? And so if you would you give us a little more background on the target dates, completion for the rooms, and if you're able, again, Ocean's a breathtaking property, but could you share some details of what we can expect to see with the new room additions?
Sure. So the way the rooms, I'm going to preface everything by saying, obviously, the supply chain issues that everyone reads about in the papers are real. And so we're subject to the same struggles that everyone else is. So there's a big caveat on that. And we have things we can control and things we can't control. If the things that we can't control kind of are as expected, obviously the target is for the summer. The way these things work, as I've learned, is you start the project and you'll actually kind of release one floor at a time. And so they kind of come every week and a half. So right now, I think if we make final investment decision by November 1st, which is our target, then we will start releasing floors by Memorial Day. But we would not have all the floors completed by Memorial Day. They'll kind of be released one at a time, one floor at a time. So you'll have kind of those 12 floors being released, kind of call it between Memorial Day and 4th of July. So the target is to have all the floors released by the 4th of July. In terms of the rooms, I've learned more about interior design in the last 6 months than I'd ever thought I'd want to know. The rooms are I don't know how to describe them. They're wonderful. They're going to have a modern and beachy feel to them. Very light, very taking advantage of our position right on the Atlantic Ocean. It'll speak to that brand. The suites are amazing. I think it's going to be for our high end and middle high end customers. They're going to be the best product on the street. So we're very excited to kind of share with the public those drawings and those mock rooms as they become available.
Okay, that sounds great. Upon completion of the total rooms, or the next 400 rooms, how many rooms will Ocean have in total?
We have 1399 right now. So if you added, probably 18, call it 1850 or so.
Okay, that
Yeah.
sounds good. A few moments ago, you were just talking very, very positively about the new partnership, and I'm excited about that as well. Ocean is certainly the newest casino property. It's a great property for a lot of reasons. What I would like to ask you, again, could you elaborate just a little bit more? With this new partnership, what can we expect? And I'm going to give you, if you would, answer that in any capacity that you like. It could be restaurants, entertainment, marketing. From your viewpoint, what can we expect with this new partnership? Something extra special, extraordinary? What would you say?
I think obviously John touched on the entertainment side. That's a big advantage for us to be able to partner with the family that basically books Detroit live entertainment. So from an entertainment perspective, I think you're going to see a noticeable investment from Ocean. From a kind of plant perspective, look, I think the best what this does for us is, instead of getting into the specifics, I talked a little specificity when Mr. Shire asked my question, but what this investment does from my perspective is it's a deleveraging. So we're paying down a lot of debt with this, and we're bringing in a partner that is extremely well capitalized. So what you have right now is, I think you have the newest asset with no lease on it. It's not PropCo OpCo, with the least amount of debt. And by us returning, we're taking money off the table here, so we kind of refill our own cash registers to say, and we have a well-capitalized partner. We can do whatever we want. So if there's a project that makes sense, we're going to do it. And my opinion, and it's always been my opinion with this asset, is once it turned free cash flow positive, which it did years ago, that we had the opportunity to invest at the highest returns versus any other asset in the city, because we already had $2.5 billion of infrastructure behind us. So I think there's always opportunities to invest in your customer and make the place better and get good returns. And now we have the balance sheet and the two partners that in a week can make that decision and fund that without the bureaucracy or without the capital markets risk of a bigger institution. So a lot of flexibility to be aggressive if we want to be on the capital side.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'm fine.
Commissioner Malano?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ocean has overcome a number of early challenges to now become one of Atlantic City's market leaders. So how much consideration was placed in this subtle departure of Teresa? And what effect will that be placed on Ocean at this particular time?
Ms. Glabaki was a strong CEO. She was a good leader. The property will miss her. She was particularly strong from a financial perspective in guiding the company out of the negative EBITDA situation it found itself in when she took the reins. In terms of the position so if you'd asked me that question 18 months ago, I would have said that's a really big loss, and we have to maybe hit the panic button. I think the sign of a good leader is you kind of create your own obsolescence in some respects. Bruce kind of talked a little bit about it yesterday. This team now is completely different than it was 18 months ago. We have some of the best talent in Atlantic City and the gaming markets in general at all of our department heads. And so the business is really kind of running itself now. And the CEO is really there to provide strategic vision, build a culture. And so those things, particularly with active ownership, I think can go without a CEO for some period of time. But the property needs a general manager, it needs a head, and that's why we're going to be running that search quickly and aggressively.
So is this can you hear?
Yes, I can hear.
And the short-term plan is?
The short-term plan is to designate an interim CEO in the next couple of weeks, and to run a search in conjunction with Motor City, starting basically now.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Conboy, I was reviewing my notes from our initial licensing of Ocean Casino, and at that time, they said the partnership with a national chain was going to help the casino and your Top Golf. We know that you don't have that relationship with the national chain anymore. Is Top Golf still helping you, or is that giving you an advantage there, or you went past that?
To be honest, it's not a big needle mover one way or the other. I'm assuming you're saying the initial license, that was Mr. Dyfik's licensing. Top Golf, it's a nice amenity. I think it's underutilized. I think we have an opportunity to promote it more and to make it more of a draw. It hasn't been a huge priority, a strategic priority of my own or the management to date. But I do think there's an opportunity to utilize Top Golf and that space better. So it's an opportunity next year, but it's not from a profitability perspective right now, it's not a needle mover for us.
As has been mentioned, Ocean has no question turned around in the last 2 years. I don't want you to give me trade secrets, but what do you accredit that to?
I credit to the management team. It was, one, I think you just needed time. People, if you look at how any kind of business, any of these gaming businesses build, you need people to come in, you need them to experience the property. They spend maybe 10% of their gaming wallet with you. And then 6 months from later, they spend 20%. And then eventually you build that customer loyalty. And so part of it was just a natural ramp, and time was always going to be on Ocean's side. And the other part of it is management and really investing in the customer, really knowing the customer, getting the marketing right. Some strategic capital projects that we invested in, we invested our capital in, I think, helped. But the credit really goes to the people on the lines and the department heads and the senior management.
That's all I have, Mr. Conboy. Thank you. Council, any other follow-up?
Nothing from me, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Division?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend take a 10-minute recess to allow the parties to reset for closing statements.
Excellent. Then we will reconvene at 11:10 for closing statements.
I assume that the division didn't have any additional witnesses?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll see you in 10. Thank you. Or good morning? Oh, he's doing it now, okay.
Good morning, Lauren.
Hi, I'm here.
Excellent. I think we have everybody back. We're back in session. We're prepared now for closing statements. Ms. Ben-David, for the division, you may begin.
OCR Investment LLC is seeking interim casino authorization to purchase an indirect ownership interest in casino licensee AC Ocean Walk LLC. The division, through its ICA investigation, has conducted a preliminary review of OCR Investment LLC, its associated entities, and natural person qualifiers to determine whether the ICA requirements have been met. The division's findings were summarized in its September 22nd, 2021 report as supplemented on October 13th, 2021. With the exception of the amended organizational documents of Pioneer Fiduciary Company, LLC, which have not been resolved by petitioner, but can be addressed in the interim by a condition, the division believes all ICA requirements have been met. The management agreement has been approved. The organizational documents of OCR Investment LLC have been amended to incorporate requisite provisions from the Casino Control Act. ICA will not result in undue economic concentration. Equal employment opportunity will be afforded pursuant to the casino's EBOP. The ICA trustee is qualified. The division submits that interim operation would best serve the interests of the public. In connection with the pending ICA matter, the division also completed a financial stability analysis. The division reviewed the previous troubled financial history of Ocean, including the operating losses it had incurred and its prior struggle to meet financial obligations. AC Ocean has turned a corner more recently, as operating results have improved. The $175 million investment by OCR Investment LLC would be another positive development. You have received additional information through testimony today and yesterday. Through the new management agreement, Ocean will acquire the gaming expertise of staff from Motor City Casino. Additional benefits may be realized from the intellectual property the management company expects to bring to Ocean. It is expected that the proceeds from the investment by OCR Investment LLC will be used to decrease debt, to increase Ocean's cash position and fund reserves, and to fund a 464-room hotel expansion. Nevertheless, the management change brought about by Teresa Globacki's resignation this week and its potential effect on operational direction has added some uncertainty. The continuation of the financial conditions upon Ocean will enable the division to continue to monitor and safeguard Ocean's financial stability. In the division's view, OCR Investment has shown by clear and convincing evidence that it meets the requirements for ICA. Accordingly, the division does not object to the commission granting ICA to OCR Investment. However, under the current circumstances, the division would continue the financial conditions imposed in May 2020. They have been continued, and recommends new and additional conditions should be imposed addressing the CEO vacancy and other matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kaufman?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I really will be brief this time. I submit that OCR Investment has met all the ICA criteria that Ms. Ben-David listed, and we respectfully request the Commission to grant ICA. We look forward to working together with Luxor to build on the recent success of Ocean. And I also would like to say that we agree with the recommended conditions. Finally, Lloyd and I would like to thank the Commission and Division especially Ms. Fauntleroy and Ms. Ben David for their diligence, hard work, responsiveness, and professionalism during this process. It's not always a smooth and easy one. It's not designed to be that way. It's designed to be in the public interest, and we very much appreciate that. So thank you.
Mr. Schreier?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too would like to thank you and the members of the commission, as well as the petitioners and the division, for permitting Ocean to participate in this proceeding. Ocean Casino Resort wholeheartedly supports the petition of OCR Investment. We look forward to their investment and what that will bring, and more importantly, their expertise and their fresh ideas, so that the successful path of Ocean Casino Resort can continue. And I thank you for your time over these proceedings. We too submit that we are agreeable to the conditions raised by the division. Thank you.
Commissioners, are there any additional questions for council?
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Hearing none. Council, are there any other matters that need to be brought to our attention?
I hope not.
I don't think so.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, then we will take a recess here, and we will come back at 12:15 from that recess to deliberate on the decision. So we'll see everybody back here at 12:15. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Yes, I'm here.
We are back in session. If there are no comments on the draft resolution, do the parties consent to the adoption of that?
Chairman, if I may, I'm still reviewing the draft resolution, so I would just reserve the division's right to comment on it if possible.
Thank you. So noted.
Is there
Any other comments on the resolution?
or any of the other matter?
And are there any other matters that need to be brought to the commission's attention?
Not from me, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Are they on?
Yeah, I assume. Ms. Kaufman, Mr. Schreier, both on?
Yes, this is Steve Schreier. I have no other matters to bring before you today. I do, similar to Ms. Ben-David, wish to reserve the right to comment on the resolution, which I am reading, but I haven't gotten through it completely.
Okay.
Thank you. Today, the OCR investment asked this commission to grant it interim casino authorization to permit it to implement its two-phase, up to $175 million investment agreement with casino licensee AC Ocean Walk, doing business as Ocean Casino Resort. This is the next regulatory step in a series of actions taken to facilitate this investment. During the last few meetings, we have reviewed and approved the restructuring of 10RE AC Ocean's parent holding company, qualified its new parent holding company, new 10RE, and an entity qualifier. OCRH reviewed and approved the management agreement between AC Ocean and OCRM and determined that OCRM should be designated as a casino service industry enterprise and obtains licensure as such. OCR's intended investment and their partnership with Lexar is indeed a positive development for Ocean, as well as for the Atlantic City area and the state of New Jersey. We are all acutely aware of Ocean's past struggles. In fact, issues arose shortly after its opening in 2018. Lexar, originally a financial source for Ocean, stepped in to support the struggling casino. First, through a divestiture trust, and ultimately as a majority owner after securing a casino license. Given our concerns regarding Ocean's operational and financial stability, we imposed, at the division's recommendation, a number of conditions that enhanced regulatory oversight and worked to ensure Ocean remained financially stable. The division's report provided us with a thorough overview of Ocean's financial conditions, as well as its position regarding Ocean's current financial stability. It appears that Ocean has begun to thrive and in fact posted positive EBITDA results for the past several years. Although Terry Goblocki has stepped aside, I must note that she led Ocean through many difficult challenges and through her stewardship positively changed its financial standing. On behalf of the Commission, I wish her success in her future endeavors. I am pleased to hear that OCR has committed to furthering Ocean's positive trajectory. Mr. Dole and Mr. Polaccio testified to OCR's commitment to Ocean, as well as its short and long-term goals relative to the property. In addition, OCR's commitment to fund a major as well as timely room expansion. Its investment is expected to be used significantly to reduce Ocean's long-term debt. which will in turn improve its liquidity. By all accounts, it appears that Ocean has become a competitive force in the Atlantic City gaming market and is well positioned to continue to generate positive cash flow. There are clear synergies between the Ilches Motor City property and Ocean, which Mr. Polaccio noted, if cultivated, would benefit both Ocean and Motor City in the short as well as the long term. However, given that Ocean's positive performance is still recent, and in light of its recent corporate restructuring and the recent departure of its CEO, it is important for the regulators to remain diligent in its oversight during OCR's interim casino authorization period. In part, due to the recently announced departure of Terry Gablocki, the division supplemented its ICA report and now withdraws its modification of the financial reporting conditions we imposed on Ocean at the time of Lexor's plenary qualification in May of last year. I, for one, agree that maintaining the financial conditions, particularly during this interim period, are critical to ensuring that Ocean continues its positive trend and remains financially stable. In addition, the division recommends that we impose specific conditions on the OCR. That, among other directives, requires that the OCR further specify the intended uses of its investment and regularly update the regulatory authorities on its efforts to secure a new CEO. These recommended conditions are reasonable and appropriate under the conditions, and I support their imposition. As noted earlier, we are here today to consider whether we will approve the next regulatory step to advance OCR's ownership of a significant interest in AC Ocean, OCR Investments Interim Casino Authorization. The division director has identified those entities and individuals that need to qualify in order for the petitioner's ICA application to be complete. The division reported that those entities have filed the required business entity disclosure forms, and the individuals identified have filed the required personal history disclosure forms. Of course, any designation and determination today as to the entities and individuals required to qualify in connection with OCR's ICA does not foreclose any determination that other entities and individuals must qualify should the division's full investigation reveal such a need. We have listened intently to the testimony offered today, which was very informative. While AC Ocean's financial conditions have indeed improved, it remains critical that the regulatory authorities continue to monitor its ongoing financial stability through this ICA process at a minimum. Section 85.13 of this Casino Control Act sets forth the necessary findings we must make by clear and convincing evidence in order to grant an ICA. Deputy Attorney General Sarah Ben-David detailed in her opening statement the standards that must be met for the issuance of an ICA and need not be repeated. The required trust agreement between OCR Investment and the ICA trustee transfers all the OCR investments, present and future rights, title and interest in any and other securities issued pursuant to its investment agreement to the trustee in accordance with the ICA provisions of the Act. Although he was not able to join us during this proceeding, it was noted that Mr. Murtha is a veteran of Atlantic City gaming industry. He was issued a casino key employee license by the Commission in March of 2012. His resubmitted key license was approved by the Commission at its July 11, 2017 meeting, and has remained valid. Having met the casino key employee license standard, he meets the requirements for qualification to serve as OCR Investments ICA trustee. The division supports his qualifications, and we thank him for his anticipated service. What is essentially left to consider is whether it is in the public interest to allow interim authorization to the petitioner while the division conducts its plenary investigation. The commission must assess all relevant information, especially any preliminary evaluation from the division, as to the company's good character and financial stability, without requiring the division to disclose anything that may prejudice or otherwise compromise its investigation. The principles of the OCR investment are not new to the gaming industry. However, they will be new stakeholders in Atlantic City's resurging gaming market. OCR's investment in Ocean comes at a critical juncture in Atlantic City's economic development. As the industry begins to emerge from the pandemic-related restrictions, capital investment and financial liquidity are essential elements of a blueprint for success. I am encouraged by today's testimony, which reinforced OCR's commitment to the ongoing success of AC Ocean. Stability and continuity in casino operations is especially important at this time. Accordingly, with the conditions recommended by the division, I believe that a grant of the ICA to OCR investment will serve the best interest of the public and further the policies and the purposes of the New Jersey Casino Control Act. Based upon the entire record of this proceeding, including the testimony today and the exhibits admitted into evidence, I am satisfied that the petitioner has met the standards for interim casino authorization. Therefore, I move that we adopt the draft resolution and grant interim casino authorization to OCR Investment, LLC, approve the interim casino authorization trust agreement pursuant to NJSA 5:12-95.14:, and find William Murtha, Esquire, qualified to serve as interim casino authorization trustee, in accordance with the findings and rulings as set forth in this resolution. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll give the second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I would just like to say something, if that's
Please.
okay. Thank you. Would just like to extend congratulations to everyone involved in this new partnership and my very best wishes on this endeavor and future endeavors. In the past 2 days, I have heard some very exciting, very positive, and very impressive plans. And with what I've heard, this will only enhance gaming in the gaming market in Atlantic City. So once again, congratulations and continued success to everyone involved.
Thank you. Commissioner Malano?
Yes. Although I never got the chance to meet Terry Cleobacchio, I would like to commend her on much success in her future endeavors, and also thank her for all the work she has done for Ocean in the city of Atlantic City. And Ocean, I welcome you to do as much as possible in this city, and thank everyone that continued the work that you have before you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Roll call vote?
Commissioner Molyneux,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cooper,
Yes.
and Chairman Pelosi.
Yes.
I will note, Mr. Chairman, for the record, that the responses to the draft resolution are noted. I will continue to have conversations regarding any technical edits that are necessary, notwithstanding the determination on the record.
Thank you.
I forgot you have to actually close the meeting. In accordance with Resolution 20120903, the next closed session shall be held on Wednesday, November 10, 2021, at 9:30 a.m. in the Commission offices.
Thank you. This is the public participation portion of the meeting. Ms. Fauntleroy, do we have any comments?
I have been advised that we do not, Mr. Chairman.
The public participation portion is now closed. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. The meeting is now